I know what you're thinking. It's not possible for there to be only one solution to climate change. Can we reverse the effects of climate change? If we keep doing what we're doing, the answer is no. COP27 just started in Egypt. We need to ask one simple question. When will we stop doing what we're doing?
This report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a litany of broken climate promises. It is a file of shame, cataloguing the empty pledges that put us firmly on track towards an unlivable world. We are on a fast track to climate disaster.
These are the top 8 solutions for reversing climate change, listed in order of gigatons of CO2 reduction by 2050. Reduced food waste, plant-rich diets, family planning and education, refrigerant management, tropical forest restoration, onshore wind turbines, utility-scale solar photovoltaics, clean cooking. This is from Project Drawdown. They've identified and quantified 100 solutions for reversing climate change. But all solutions are not created equal. Is there one solution that we can all focus on that drives all other solutions? Yes, there is. This is a summary of the climate change story. Act 1. Identify the problem.
There is some tentative evidence that the poles have begun to warm. In the extremely unlikely event of them melting altogether, it would have the calamitous effect of raising sea levels worldwide.
Kilometer-thick floating blocks of ice, but they're pinned, they're stuck on islands. And if the climate warms up a few degrees, there are a number of glaciologists who believe these shelves would break up.
More than 2 million people in London would be at risk. 500,000 homes, factories and shops permanently underwater.
Act 2. Develop the solutions.
A new report out today suggests up to 5 of the nation's remaining 16 coal power plants could be unviable financially by 2025 due to a flood of cheap solar and wind.
Wind and solar have a much lower operational cost than coal and gas.
Act 3. Implement the solutions before climate change impacts 3 billion people.
The impacts involve severe and widespread disruptions to nature and to society, reducing our ability to grow nutritious food or provide clean drinking water.
The poorest communities are the ones that are strongest hit by climate change, as they're least able to cope with the growing impacts. Our assessment indicates that there are between 3.3 and 3.6 billion people who live in such hotspots.
That there's a very intimate relationship between our well-being, the well-being of our planet, and the forces that are driving climate change.
So what stage are we in right now? Act 2 is ending and Act 3 is starting. Act 3 is the part where we have to actually do it. You're probably thinking, we've identified the problem and we've developed the solutions, so let's just do it. What's the problem? Well, the problem is that these solutions require the participation of multiple governments, millions of businesses, and a few billion people. And some of them don't want to do it.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Did you notice a few years ago?
Wait, do you think the Earth is not warming?
Climate has always changed, but you can't distinguish mankind's contribution from natural variability.
I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball. So it's very, very cold out.
The whole notion that we are facing a climate crisis is a delusion.
The voice of the Heartland Institute, a group of climate change deniers hosting a conference here in Sin City.
That's totally fake science.
What's wrong with more warming?
We use coal and fossil fuels and emissions, and we're raising our CO2 levels. And this is based on data. And this is something that you can look at. You could look at the data and follow where they're getting this information from and follow how they're making these conclusions. And you're saying really clearly that you don't think it's real.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it would be the same if I said to you, like, you know, do you believe in God? God is not scientific data. Right. There's a big difference between measuring the CO2 levels in the atmosphere and deciding whether or not there's an afterlife. Right. I'm sorry that I just don't believe in global warming.
So what can we do? We can beg politicians to commit to low carbon emissions, but they won't do it because votes trump everything. We can beg people to vote for politicians that commit to lower carbon emissions, but they won't do it because ideology trumps everything. We can beg corporations to commit to lower carbon emissions, but they won't do it because money trumps everything. Okay, what can we do that doesn't involve begging? Is there a solution that's totally under our own control and renders these politicians and these people irrelevant and forces corporations to lower carbon emissions? Politicians that prioritize votes over everything and people that prioritize ideology over everything are a lost cause. But people that prioritize money over everything can be easily manipulated, legally of course. If the most important thing to these corporations is money, then let's cut off the money supply. So how are you, the person watching this video, going to cut off the money supply to a large corporation? Almost all greenhouse gas emissions are the result of selling a product or a service. So you just need to buy products that have a low carbon footprint and tell the corporations that create products that have a high carbon footprint to go fuck themselves. So there's no need to beg the government, big corporations, or climate deniers to do anything. Ignore them. Pretend they don't exist. Let them self-destruct. Why does this one solution drive all of the other climate change solutions? Let's say that every product had a carbon rating, and we all decided to buy products that had a low carbon footprint and avoid products that have a high carbon footprint. What would happen? Businesses will create products that have a low carbon footprint and pretend that they care about the planet. This one shift in global consumer behavior will cause the global supply chain for everything to self-correct. This self-correction will also accelerate the adoption of all of these climate change solutions. Because in this new scenario, corporations want to increase revenue by producing low carbon footprint products, and they need these technologies to do it. You're probably thinking, well, that makes sense if, hypothetically, we all decided to buy products with a low carbon footprint and avoid products with a high carbon footprint. But we won't all decide to do it. For example,
that's totally fake science.
What's wrong with more warming?
These people obviously won't do it. The reality is that we don't all have to do it for this to work. The average annual growth rate of corporations in the S&P 500 is 20%. So if only 20% of us did this, their revenues would start going backwards. That's all it takes, 20%. So how do you know if a product has a high or a low carbon footprint? You don't. We need a carbon labeling system. Some carbon labeling systems already exist, but I'm not aware of any that are very good. Some are too technical. Some are self-promotional. None of them use standards, and accuracy is an issue. But none of this matters. The only thing that matters is the conclusion that you draw. Possible conclusion number 1. In that case, let's continue polluting the planet. Possible conclusion number 2. Let's improve carbon labeling, and in the meantime, we'll use whatever information is available to us to make decisions about what we buy. So what can individuals do? Support businesses that do the right thing and avoid bad actors. Like this video. It takes 1 second and 0 effort, but will help us get this video out to more people. What can businesses do? Start by lowering your carbon footprint. And remember that we don't need you to succeed. You need us. What can governments do? How does get out of the fucking way sound? Governments can help by agreeing to standardization in carbon labeling so that we're all measuring the same thing. We can take the power away from politicians and put it in the hands of the people with direct democracy. I'm not just a talking head. I created a framework, the software, and a platform to actually do it. So this plan will eventually reverse global warming organically over time by harnessing the power of the people. This is the domino that knocks over all of those other dominoes. We, as individual people, have the ability to create a global realignment of priorities that results in most people deciding to do the right thing by acting in their own self-interest. We just have to decide to do it. No need to beg politicians or corporations to do anything. If you elect a leader that withdraws from the Paris Agreement, it won't matter because you have control. If you don't like the result of COP27, it won't matter because you have control. So in the end, it all comes down to this. Every story has 3 acts and a hero's journey. Act 1 and 2 of the climate change story are done. So who will be the hero that shows up in Act 3 to reverse global warming and save you? In the end, the only hero that will ever show up to save you is you.